Okay, this thing on? It is on. Let's rearrange this. Point that down. All right. A little bit. Okay, welcome back. Building the Iron Man helmet just out of foam. So far, I have printed it out from Peppercura. I had to scale it up 10% because it was too small with the regular size. I had that, printed it out, taped it together, and it was just too small for my head. So this is where I am right now. I've taped together like the back half. That's how I'm going off of the sizing. This is the front face part. So I'm going to start with building that. Let me looking at the PEP file at what kind of cuts I'm going to need. I think a lot of these are going to be pretty flat cuts, which is really nice. Okay, I'm going to do my normal marking of these. So we're going to go in on this side. Using that green, just writing an arrow. This will be flat, flat. Most of these just are flat, which is really nice. Just makes it a little bit easier. That one, whoops. Okay, this one is going to be in, nope, right there, on all three of these sides. And this one will be in as well. I think the rest of it is just pretty flat cuts actually. You can see where I've cut into this face one. This one will be folded back a little bit at some point, but I don't want to make it a full cut. I'm also going to make this out of 6mm, so let me grab some 6mm. Okay. Have my 6mm foam ready to start cutting. We're just going to start with the face one. I've just kind of labeled it from the top to the bottom of the face. Put those extra pieces to the side and just start with this. A lot of the pieces are also symmetrical, so I only printed out half of the face. I'm always trying to figure out what will save me the most. We're just going to go like this. Okay. Just tracing this out like normal. Nothing really special about this actually. This is a pretty straightforward part. I don't know if I sound quiet or if it's just the microphone. Maybe it is. Maybe I need to speak up a little bit. Or my volume is just down on my computer. I think that's all it really was. Yep, okay. Now one thing I didn't do, which I should have done on this one, which I can cut it out still, no problem. But what I do want to do is there's supposed to be a cut on the back side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically make dots. Do I want to use dots? It's easier to just poke holes, but I'm just going to cut some small areas because I don't have a needle right next to me or anything. Essentially what I'm doing here is I'm just going to make a dotted line that I can follow later because this is going to have to be a mountain fold. That one might have been a little close to there, but that's alright. Really, the closer they are, the more accurate this whole line will be once I draw it in. But I don't think it needs to be super close. Okay, got those cut out. Like I said, we'll see in a little bit of why I cut those out. Okay, just make sure we've got that sharp. Put the stencil to the side, or the template to the side. And I can cut this out. This is all flat. Should make an easy cut. Kind of wondering if I should do this on 4mm foam actually right now. If I do 6, it's going to be a little bulky, so I think I'm going to do 4. So even though I already drew it out, I'm going to get this 4 here. I might do the rest of the helmet in that 6mm. I just wanted to keep its shape. And I might have to use Warbler for that later. So I will just retrace. Oops. Okay, set that to the side again. Sorry about that. Now just cut it out. All flat cuts, this should be easy. Kind of want these to be clean cuts here because this is where we'll be attaching to the forehead part later, or at least on the second half of the helmet. Cut that off here. Give myself a smaller, easier piece to use or to work with. Okay. Now for this back piece, flip it over. I guess this piece I'll flip over too. But what I want to do is I'm going to kind of line up these two corners from the template and the foam piece, and just draw in these dots here. That dot never came out. See if I can get that out with the knife. Yep. Okay, so now I have a dotted line, and using this corner as like the first mark, I'm just going to kind of connect these dots. It's all one big curved line, so I'm kind of trying not to make it too straight. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is cut a little V groove out of this back side. I'm going to follow right on that line, basically right here, just on one side of it, at about 45 degrees. Make sure not to cut all the way through, so it's still clean on that side. Then I'm going to come back on the other side of that line, a few millimeters away, not huge, but 45 degrees again. I'm just going to cut back. Essentially, I'm just cutting out a whole valley here, and once that comes out, when this folds down and we glue it together later, it's going to make a nice little curve here, or bend on the top side of the foam without making a seam line. So that's that piece. That was easy. Easy enough. I'm going to put that one up there. Make sure I remember I've done that one. And number 2. So that's the same thing with this. I've got those lines there because this piece folds down, kind of like that. Now, realizing this is just, like I said, this is one of those 1/2 pieces. That other piece was the full forehead. This is just half of the face. So I'm going to have to flip this over, and I want it to be one piece. So I'm going to have to make space for that. I also just realized this is going to have to be an out cut. And that's because where it connects above the bridge of the nose is like, since this one is folded down, this one has to fold back out. It'll make more sense later. So let me roll that out. This piece is awkward, so it's just going to use a bunch of this foam, but that's okay. Hold it there. And if I flip it. It's going to have enough space, so we're going to do it right there. I start off with this little corner, so now I know where this flip is going to be exactly, and then I can just trace. Trying to hold the foam from curling too much. If it curls a lot while you're tracing, it will mess up the trace lines. I'm going to do one more right here in the middle, so I know exactly where I'm flipping. I can just line that up with the corners and just barely cover up that middle line, because when you draw or when you trace, the line is technically just on the outside of the paper. So I'm just barely covering up those, but making sure the corners are lined up. So now we can just trace the rest. That's really thin right there. Might have to be the very first cut, or I'll have to sharpen my knife right before I cut that one. Okay, see how the foam was kind of rolling up there? Brought this down, so let's realign that. It's not that big of a difference, actually. Okay. I'm going to start right here, and we'll just kind of work our way up. That's okay, good. This is the bottom of the eye here, so I want that really clean cut. And that was actually the side of the eye, so I wanted that clean too. And the other side of the eye. This is a short one, so it's easier. Getting close to having it cut out from the big sheet of foam. and clean cuts because this is the other eye. Good. As soon as I get it cut out from this side, it'll be a small piece of foam, be much easier to work with. There we are. God dang it, I keep pulling that off. Yep, that'll be clean enough. Oh my goodness, you know what I didn't even do is make that an outward cut. That was stupid. So it shouldn't be a huge problem. I guess I can just cut a little triangle, glue it on. It's just extra work. Oh man, I was not paying attention. Nor was I paying attention here. I think that needed to be an in cut, but I can do that after. So that's actually good. I should have had this just sitting right in front of me. Yep. In cut, outward cut. And this very last piece, I just barely have to cut off like a couple millimeters of it. I think my knife was just sharp enough to get through. Yep. Okay, good. Now, I have to figure out exactly how I'm going to do this outward cut. I think what I'm going to do is just mark the edge of the nose, that corner, flip it over. Continue that line, other corner. Okay. Now, since that's flat up there, this should be the same exact length. I'm going to start here with a flat cut. And go straight up from that corner and this corner. Now, flip it over, and I'm going to make a diagonal inward cut, or at least this will make an outward cut afterwards. I'm using this knife because this way I can just saw it, or it'll just make an easier uniform cut like this. About 45 degrees. There we go. And then at the very top of this, I can just cut straight down. I think, right? If I do it like, yeah. So, get the blade on that, right at the top of the cut. And there we go. So if I glue this on here, like that, I think it was. I kind of just mixed it up around in my hand. Oh, there we go. So like that, then it gives it that outward cut. So let's just put some glue on there immediately so I can be ready for that. that right there to dry. And I'll get glue on this piece. Close that up, and I'm going to start a 4-minute timer, just because I feel like that's usually enough time for the glue to dry correctly. Throw some scraps away. And while it's drying, I'm actually going to, so we've got this face part, right, we'll flip it over, flip this over. This is this left half of the face. And I'm doing the same thing as that other piece. I'll be drawing in right here, 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 and here. And essentially connecting with that corner, which is that corner, all the way down to this corner, I'll need another V groove. So I'm gonna just kind of eyeball it here. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just has to follow this line, and that's what these dotted lines make it equal on each side. There's that one, so I'll flip this over and do the same thing over here. Actually, I do need to have those as in cuts, so I will flip it back over. I'll sharpen my knife and I'll cut those in. So, got it right side up. I'm going to start right here. And I'm going to check my Pepakura design again, actually. I don't think it needs to be a very... No, I'm just kidding. It needs to be like 45 degrees. I may even have to cut those too. We'll see how it fits though once this is cut. Cut started, and then I can just basically follow that corner or that line all the way down. And that's one of those things that just would have been easier if I cut it when it was attached to the big piece of foam. But I wasn't thinking hard enough, so I'll do the other side now. Okie dokie. Got that. We'll cut those. My timer is at like 19 seconds though, so I'm just going to stop it. And glue this piece on. I want it to be flush to this top part. So I'm going to start with that corner and basically just go down that whole side. As flush as I can get it, and it matches up right there on the other side, then just fold it back. Now I have that makeshift outward cut. It works. Not the best way to do it, but it works. Now flip it over, and I'm going to do that V groove back here. This one, I don't think I need it to be super aggressive like this other piece. So I'm just not going to cut it quite as deep and not at quite as much of an angle on one side. So this one I'm going to go about 45 degrees with my knife. Following that line, and I'm going to turn around. And this one I'm not going to be quite as angled with my knife and not quite as far away. Start that cut just on the other side of the line and following the line. And that should be enough of a cut to give that little, yeah, that's going to be perfect. It's like the kind of cheek piece. So now I just need to replicate that cut over here. See, bottom side, I went a little more aggressive with the angle. There's that. Then top side, less aggressive. And just making sure I get the cut through. Not all the way through again, just about halfway through maybe of the foam. Okay, there we go. And flip that over, check it. Looks like it'll be good. Yeah. That's all I need to do for that piece, I believe. Ooh. Next up, I got face piece number 3. There it is. This one's a little easier in the sense that it's smaller. So I'm going to see if I can find a scrap piece that'll fit this. So it's 6 millimeters. I may not have a scrap piece that size. Unless this, nope, that's too thick. Well, darn it. Guess I'll just be using the big piece. The big piece. This one's close, but not quite. Is it? Can I fit it on there magically? Oh, this is not even 4 millimeter. What am I thinking? We will go like right here. Yeah. These funky pieces really just start to eat up the foam, which is annoying. But this one can be all flat cut, which makes it easier. I'm going to grab that jar, hold the roll to the side. There we are. Easy to trace right now, not too bad. Smaller piece. This one's not too difficult to hold down the foam at the same time. Stick that to the side and I will start cutting away. Just going to cut that out and start going along the top here. Down and across. I might cut out that little nub afterwards. Okay, that's easy. smaller piece to work with, and just keep cutting away. Another scrap piece that's probably going to be too small to use. Let's cut out this little nub piece now. Okay, that should be good. And that's piece number 3 cut out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue these. Actually, I'm going to kind of hold them together. Let's see if I can get it held decently correct. Yeah, I'm going to have to heat it up with the heat gun, kind of take these curls out of the foam. I think I also might go back in with that template piece and cut a little mark where the center is, and I can just line those up so at least they're both centered. But first let's heat them and uncurl them. With this, I'm really just folding it back after it's been heated. Not folding, I guess, just kind of curving it back. And that'll kind of get that curve out of the foam. If anything, I want it to be curving backwards. And in. Make it a little bit easier to at least just kind of size up and hold together. Okay, now those two, I guess I might as well do this one while I'm at it. So, now let's try holding these together again. That makes it look a lot more Iron Man-like. That's pretty cool. So, if this piece is folded down a little bit, that is going to be like the perfect curve. Same with this on this side. I wonder if that's going to be enough. And enough as in like, oof. I wonder if it's going to curve around my head enough, or if I'm going to have to cut this piece too. I don't really think I will. think I'm going to be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on all these V grooves that I've made and let those, while that dries at least, then I'll cut out those other couple face pieces. That way I'm not sitting around later just waiting for glue to dry. Almost there for this one. Get a little bit more glue on the brush. I need to get more glue in general. Okay, there's that piece. We'll set that to the side to dry. And do this one. Oh, I had a little too much glue there. Just spread that out. Okay, got that one ready, and we'll start the timer, 4 minutes again. I think I'll come back to cutting, and this is going to be quite the wasteful piece. I don't want to say wasteful, but it's just the kind of piece that's not going to work with me in the sense of saving any foam or being efficient with it. As you can see, it's just awkward wherever the cut is. I'm going to move these actually out of the way to dry. Maybe actually on the corner. That'll be the best. We're going to do that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on, Classico, help me out. Okay. I'm going to start tracing down here. Sorry about that. Mom's watching football, so I've got it on too, but no sound at least right now. Okay. Keep this held down. Tennessee is just barely losing right now to Alabama. Hold the piece down. It's okay if it curls as long as the piece is lined up exactly where it was, because when you flatten it out, Yep, it still lines up. Okay, got that one cut. Now I'm remembering that there are 3 end cuts on the bottom. First I'm going to do all these outward cuts because I don't want to work with this giant piece, it's just too awkward. So I start right here. Down, and oh, there's the timer. Stop that. I'm going to try and finish this cut first. Yep. Okay, here's that nub that will go into the number 3. Make sure I cut that. Hopefully it's perfect and will fit perfectly because I don't really want to have to mash it in. Okay, got that. It's almost out. We're almost to an easy workable piece. Okay, now this is easier to cut, or easier to work with. Okay, almost there. Sorry, looking at the score now, 49-49, Alabama, Tennessee tied. There we, gosh, I did it again. I even said it right before I started cutting this piece. Luckily, they're all inward cuts, so I can sharpen my knife and do it right now. Okay, I'm going to start right here and just wiggle the knife to poke it in. And I'm at like 45 degrees right now. Cut it straight back. Gosh, how silly of me. Distracted by the game. Same thing here, wiggle the knife, cut it back right along that corner. And last time on this third side. It could have been a little better on that last one, but it'll do. Good thing those weren't needing to be outward cuts, because that would have been too difficult to fix. Okay, back to these pieces that are drying or are more dried now. Before I do that, let's take this piece. I am going to just at least mark where this fold is, because I had folded it earlier in half. Just right there and right there. So now what I can do, take this and I will, okay. Try and line up these corners at least so everything looks pretty symmetrical. I'm going to say that looks pretty good. I'm going to make a mark right here, middle. I guess the top doesn't really need it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Middle. So now, that will be easier to line up with the other piece, with the mark, like that. But since I've got this glue on, I'm going to mash this up, and that'll create that good curve or corner on the top side. And flip it over. Good. That corner did show up quite nicely. We'll do the same thing here. And that's going to help this thing kind of curve in too. All right, there we go. That's looking much better. I think now what I'm going to do, so I know exactly where I'm gluing. Oh, I wonder if that's enough. Sorry, I'm just like thinking right now. If that's on my face, I'll be able to bend it back enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure that. And I have 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters, that's good. I'm going to draw a mark on here, 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters, so I know exactly where the glue is going. About. I guess it'll be okay if it's just off, but I want to be as close as I can get it. Should have done this while it was flat, because now that it's got that curve, it's a little more difficult to hold. there, and other side, 2 is right there. So keep glue in between those lines, and glue can only really go right there. These pieces on the side of the eyes that glue in are 9mm, about so. I probably could just eyeball this, but I'm being a little extra right now. So one mark there. Glue that part. Make sure this side is also 9. Yep. This side at 9 from that corner. Put a mark and a line. There we go. So now I know exactly where glue is going there, glue is going there. This piece should be that whole length, so that's easy as well. Start gluing this piece together here. Just going to start on these angled pieces. They should glue together easy. Glue on the middle piece, just the top of it too. Sorry if my microphone is making like a little scratchy sound. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Keep it off my sleeve. And do the same, but on this top piece. I'm going to start on this side since I started with the other side earlier. Or I started with this side. I'm saying. Get the middle part. Okay. And let that dry. Start the 4 minutes. I'm going to put those to the side again so they're just out of the way while drying. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to test these out. Actually, I'm going to heat this one up because it needs to curve the other way. bending it back. Same with the other side before it cools. Okay, so that will be attached. Yep, it is a teeny bit too big. The nub is. Oh well, it is what it is. Might just have to kind of squeeze it in like that. It's kind of big on both sides. I think it'll work all right though if I'm just kind of forcing it to fit. And look at some reference photos. I don't think it's really raised or anything. If anything, it's like a millimeter high. So if that, I feel like it being off just looks a little funky. However, if I glue it flat on, I think it'll look best. So we'll just give that seam line basically. So I'm going to glue it flat, or flush, I guess is a better way to describe it. Oops. Got a little too much glue on the back side there, but that should be okay. See if we can get some right in that corner. How? How does it keep falling? Like I didn't even touch it. Stay. Actually, I used to have a longer cord for it. That's what it is. Do not have a longer cord right now. Sorry, multitasking right now. Tennessee has the ball again. 9 seconds left. Oop, there's the timer. 4 minutes, stop that. See if you can get enough in this corner without putting too much there. Yep. Now, the helmet shouldn't be taking like too much stress, at least in this section. So, I don't think I'll need 2 layers of glue, or 2 coats of glue, just the one is really going to be good enough. When the glue gets old like this, it gets like gummy and doesn't want to spread near as easily as when it is new. It's a little frustrating, honestly. I mean, it still works, I think, the same. It just doesn't like to spread. For some reason, there's like a shortage on glue right now, so it's hard to get. Okay, basically gonna swap these two pieces. So this piece and this piece for this piece, oops, and this piece. Wow, Tennessee just kicked the field goal for the win. That is a wild game. Okay. Tennessee will be moving up in the rankings, that's for sure. I bet that school is wild right now. Okay, starting corner to corner here. I want this to be flush because I'll probably have to sand this down later. But as flush as I can get it will make it easier later. Okay, get it in that corner. Right up to that line. Good. So that should be perfect. And use these lines as guides. Get it right to the edge there. And line up the center lines. And then line up the other line. Line, 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 line. Okay, good. That one marked, or worked pretty well. And I'm going to start right here with this corner. And work it up the rest of the way. Again, flush as I can get it on this side. That was a little too low. Jeez, I keep going a little too low. There we go. That's looking better. And all the way to the top, pinch that together. There we go. We can see the mask starting to come together. Doesn't that look cool? Not going to be able to see anything out of this, but that's all right. Wow. That I might have to think about, honestly. Oh well. It's coming along. Last two pieces, I think. We got face number 5 here. The only reason I labeled these different is because this one is actually inset in there. I think I might actually cut that out on the paper. I don't know, I cut the other piece out. Make sure I follow that line as close as I can here. There we go. I'm actually going to mark this before I take it out. Going to put, let's just do 5 right down here, so I know that it's the bottom. And I'm going to put 6 right here. And I'm also just going, well, yeah, I'm going to do just a straight line here so that just so I remember what side connects to what. Okay, now cut this piece out. Anywhere it's going to fit nicely. Don't really think so. I'm going to move this mask up to the side for now. Not really anywhere for it to fit well, so I'm going to do it right here. I think it just barely fits, doesn't it? Yeah, I think that'll waste the least amount. $52.49, guys. Tennessee beats Alabama. That's pretty close. It was a good game. If I wasn't streaming, I would have been more into it, but that's okay. Ooh, don't turn this. Okay. Keeping the template as flat as I can with the foam. You know, while it's flat, I'm just going to trace this inside. Good. These skinny pieces, I always tend to move them by accident somehow, just while adjusting, so it's really annoying. See, I moved it. I always move these pieces. I don't know why. Just trying to adjust. Dang it. Well. Okay. This one, I swear I won't forget. Those are all in cuts. What I should have done, and I can still do because I have it lined up right now, I'm going to mark where it looks like it has these mountain folds. Okay. That way I can make the lines in a little bit exactly where they're going to need to be. Also, I forgot to set my watch, but it's been 4 minutes for these pieces, so I'm going to try and glue them together. Then get back to cutting. Let's see. I want to start on the correct side at least. Almost messed that up royally. So we're going to get this like as flush as I can. Shoot. Corners are always difficult to work with here, so I'm going to start with this top edge. And honestly, this probably could have been like one big piece, and I could have cut that out with a knife and heated it up to make the cut show. But I'm already doing it. I'm committed to doing it this way. Really, I'm just kind of forcing the foam to fit exactly how I want it. And it's making it warp a little bit, but I think once I get it glued onto the bigger piece, it won't matter. last one, if I can get these corners flush, we'll be in good shape. Good. It makes it warp a little strange, but that's okay. Gosh, the field is just swarmed with Tennessee people right now. It looks wild. Okay, so that one will curve up and it will attach there. You know what is a little strange, I think, is there is nothing in the pattern for this section. So what am I gonna do? Think. If I glue this, as basically that corner is supposed to attach up there, but why is there a big space? Oh, that's just kind of how it is on like the design for some reason. I'm just gonna have to fill it in later. So I think for now, I'm going to glue these pieces together and then get back to cutting again. Okay. And yep, just here. Okay, set that to dry, start the 4 minutes. And back to cutting this. Now remember, in on those 3. Let's just make sure, yep. Okay, so I'm going in. Actually, it's not even just that straight, it's going to be the entire side. This entire 3 sides. Good thing you noticed that. I'm going to start at the top, cut in. What I need to actually do before I really get into this is transfer these marks and so on the outside of the lines. Of course, they are going to have to go on the back side of the thing anyway. Maybe don't even need those marks. Okay. And cut again. I probably went rather aggressive there, but that's all right. Want to keep it about 45 degrees. rest should be flat lines. Or flat cuts. Good. Got that cut out. Cut off these little strips because I don't need those on there. Creates a scrap piece and put the rest inside. Okay. Now I've got this. This is going to be a bit funky. And that's because when I cut out this inside piece, the top is going to fold. Let's just put those lines. Not that I really need them there, but this piece has to come out anyway, so again, dang it, just stay up here. Move it up there, actually, that would look better. Never really see like the bottom of his helmet, so I wonder if I even need to cut out this hexagon. It's in the Pepakura file. Oh, maybe I do because it's like the chin when it folds up. Oh, there's the timer. Stop that. Kind of hard to tell in these photos. None of them really give a good look of his chin, at least in light. Kind of looks like it is inset, so we're going to do it. Just going to do clean cuts, flat cuts on all sides. Okay, pull those away. That kind of makes them not as clean, but that's all right. Before I take them out, I'm going to put some registration marks just to remember which side is which. So I'll put 2 there, 1 on that side. Okay. Now what I'm going to need is this piece again. It's going to be a little difficult to see, but I want that, well, I don't think you need to make it that difficult to myself. I can kind of just freeball. Just need to go straight across from the inside of these corners. That's easy. The ones up top here are going to be, I don't even think they're really going to be that necessary, honestly. So I'm going to mark them, but I'm not going to cut them yet. This one I do need to cut. So I'm just going to use this knife, and it's a pretty big cut, so I'm going to go a couple millimeters to the side of the line, cut about 45 degrees down, or at 45 degrees, halfway down. Same thing on the other side. Making sure not to cut all the way through because I don't want it to separate. And that should give it the right angle. I don't want it to be actually quite 45, so just a little under 45. Got lucky on that first one. We'll see if I can get lucky on the second one. This might have been a little much, but that's okay. It will be the same thing on this piece all the way across. So I'm just going to use that longer knife. First, I'm also a little neurotic about it, so I'm going to make a line to follow. Straight across. Okay. Just to the side. And cut again about 45 degrees. Not all the way through. And turn it around. Same thing on this side. Okay, that gives that bit of a fold. Let's see how it fits when I fold both of them. Oh, it should work fine. I'm not insetting it a lot, so I think I'm going to glue this piece to the outside first, then fold it. And since it's inset, I'm going to use super glue. Actually grab, what was I waiting to dry? Oh yeah. This is dried, so we'll come back to the super glue piece. Gonna start here on this top corner. Just get it corner to corner as best I can. Oh. Actually, I'm going to start on this inside corner. I'd rather that be, I need that to be flush more than the outside corner. And of course, it's going to be difficult because it's working with corners. Oh, a little up there, a little too high. I think we got lucky being able to adjust it. Now I know gluing this part together makes it so I can't have a mask that opens and closes like actual Iron Man's. I may come back to that on a later date and make a mask that does that. But for now, this is just going to slide on over my head. Which is not as cool, but it's alright, it'll work. I'm a little pressed for time. I procrastinated a little too long. So, that's getting close. Now let's get this piece glued in. I'm going to get some scrap pieces to wipe the glue. What I want here is this to be a couple millimeters, really not much, in. So I'm going to try and get one side, hold it like that, couple drops of glue ought to do it. And just use the corner of this to rub it in without pushing it back too far. Okay, and just do the same thing on the opposite side. I kind of think that'll just help it get locked in there easier. Man, what I really need is a third hand here to hold it. Okay, almost. Alright, that's perfect if I can keep it from moving. A couple drops of glue. Just rubber, not rubber, but something to rub the glue with. Okay, good. Yep, that's about equal. And then I can just kind of work my way around. There we go, that is close. The lighting is a little funky right now because it's starting to get dark. Hey, come on. There we go. That might be a little too deep actually. That'll work, that'll work. Okay, and let's press in this top part. That was a bit deeper, but that's okay. It's not going to be too big of a difference. Okay, that piece is not working with me. That might be a little too much. Maybe I should just use hot glue here. Might be a little easier to work with. Just at least to get it in place first. Oh no, here we go, there we go. That, oh, if I don't bump it with my thumb. Let's cut. A couple pieces that will work as glue rubbing pieces. This last piece is this top piece that didn't want to work with me earlier. Let's see if I can mash it correctly this time. Kind of. this back side. That might work a lot better. Okay, and what we'll also just press it together a little bit more is using the contact cement. I'll be using that. I'm actually just going to start with it just in this middle crease, because the outside ones were a little too much for what I think I wanted, for how much it folded. So this one will make it fold perfectly. Okay, put on the 4-minute timer there. Now kind of look at this. Oh, I also forgot to heat this one up and take that curve out of it. That's all right. I think they attach like that. I'm gonna have to get probably Warbler to hold the mask bent where it needs to be. So I might be putting like one piece in there. That might be a later video though. What I do need to look at is that going to be an inward cut enough? Let's see. I think holding it up right now, kind of where it's going to be, it's not enough of a cut. Which means I'll have to cut these inside as well. Which is fine. These, after holding it up too, I am saying I am going to have to do that little cut there. So let's start with that. Just another simple V cut, basically. Okay, that should be enough of a cut up. We'll put actually some glue in there. That should dry close enough to the same time. Okay, there's so much glue on the brush right now. Okay, now I've set this piece up out of the way to dry. What I'm going to have to do is in-cut. I've in-cut those ones already. I'm going to have to in-cut from this corner over here. There's one. There's the 4 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and cut this side first. should be enough. Okay. Now I'm going to put glue on all of this. So I'll glue on the very bottom chin part, and that actually should pull it together. Okay, we'll set that to the side to dry. Take this piece, and I'll be, timer already went off for it, but I'm going to put this glue on the edges. That way it can be drying while I push the pieces together at least. Oops. Okay, glue's all around the outside. I'll take this piece, fold it up, and I think that this inside one will have enough strength to just hold the other one where it needs to be. It'll also be getting glued to the other piece, so it doesn't really matter too much. These pieces, fold this up and this up. So that piece is basically ready. I'm just gonna, without heating it, kind of take this curve away. It'll work a little bit. And of course I forgot to start the 4 minutes, so I just started it. I'll do a little cleaning up, or organizing. And I will come back through at some point with hot glue just to reinforce all the seams. But for now, we're just going to go with this glue. And that should be good enough. Put this up to the side. That should be all the pieces. Keep them grouped together. It's decently dry. I think I could probably put it together. Okay. Let's flip it over actually, make sure I'm gluing it the correct way. I'm going to start in the middle just because I want it to be nice and symmetrical, or I want this to be as centered as I can get. So I'm going to start with this corner and walk it down to the next corner. One is curved, one is not. It's kind of making it difficult to keep it flush. Doing my best here. Going up to this corner. I'm just going to mash that together, do the other side. Pinch that together there. That's going to have to be sanded a little bit, but that's all right. Then we will do this side all the way up the cheek, kind of, or where it goes around to the chin, really. Okay. There's that right side, or left side, I guess, when you're wearing it. And turn it around, get the other side, same way. Since it is folded there, it doesn't really want to stay flush at the very beginning. And we'll have to pinch together in just a second. Pinch that. Then right here, it's a little separated, but pinching it together should hold it well enough. At least with that contact cement, it usually does. Okay, and there we go. Looks a little funky right now because this wants to flare out, but if I get something that holds it together, that looks a lot more correct. Just we'll flip that around. There it is. So there is the Iron Man faceplate. Huh. I think it should, holding it up to myself right now, should be alright. Again, not going to see anything out of it. You can see like that much. Alright, well, hope you enjoyed. Hopefully that was helpful. I will be back probably tomorrow, hopefully, with the back half build. Or at least starting that build. So, till next time, and hail to the hobbies.